Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
The Rock Review is thrilled to bring on lead singer and founding member of the hit band, the Marshall Tucker Band. Doug Gray, thank you for coming on the show.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure. I'm ready to do anything, okay?
You know, I got the press release, Doug, and it has to be wrong because I remember when these songs came out. This can't be the 50th anniversary tour this year.
Well, you know, I can't believe it either. And my bones believe it pretty much. Okay, these old bones. The one thing you don't do in the morning is you don't walk, you don't look, you don't turn the light on and go and look in the mirror to see how you're looking on the way to the bathroom. Okay. So, I mean, if that's a little snippet, that's okay. But as you get older, that means you're either wiser, as I've been told. Okay, you're being extremely wise by friends of mine, especially Charlie and stuff like that, and just from people we talked about growing old and being in our business together, having the connections, being friends. We didn't call people, you know, like big artists and stuff like that. We didn't call them connections. We called them friends.
You guys have had, and correct me if I'm wrong, 5 gold albums, 3 platinum albums, and sold millions of records worldwide. And like you and I were talking about, you know, a lot of the songs that are the hits from the Marshall Tucker Band have become part of the fabric, you know, of our lives, including Can't You See and Fire on the Mountain and so many of these great songs. You know, you guys started this band when you were in your 20s. And what I find so unique about Marshall Tucker Band, to where you melded blues, jazz, and country and put it all together. You had the flute and everything going on that so many bands didn't have. You guys really set the foundation of what is now called Southern rock.
Southern rock is an ability to be able to play with people from generation and other genres of music. Like Carlos Santana would come and jam with us. He would not whisper in our ear, but would be sitting there before the show, and he'd come up and he'd say, "Golly, man, you guys really lay some stuff down." But we also got to play in the earlier years. We got to play, on jazz things, Thelonious Monk, people like that, Dionne Warwick, all of that. And Toy and myself would travel 200 or 300 miles just to get in the car to go be at those concerts to learn. We didn't know we was learning. We had no idea we'd still be around 50 years. Well, Toy's not here anymore since 1992, and I miss him greatly. I miss all of those guys more than you know. But you know what? Every night that I walk on that stage, everybody in the band now, some of them been there over 25 years, they know that they're pushing us to make us exactly the reason we started, and that was to make people smile and have a good time.
Well, speaking of which, the late Charlie Daniels was also a friend and a collaborator of the Marshall Tucker Band, and he always spoke so highly of you guys. And you guys did some fun albums and stuff together as well.
Oh, yeah. We weren't able to always be together, and because Charlie, was doing his thing, we were doing our thing. You go do your thing, and things change up. We all run out. But then we're not doing it for any particular reason. We're doing it because the public demanded it. Okay. Right. So then when we get a chance to be together and we're looking at each other and figuring out, I really like that show tonight. Why don't we get it together? Honestly, another little ditty is Charlie and I had been working for 4 years to try to get our two companies together. We ended up being with the same type of company, and we had planned for a whole year to be Charlie Daniels' Fire on the Mountain tour. And because we had a Fire on the Mountain and he had one. So we were going to do that. And we had seriously been talking a great deal about it and just about had half the year done. But you know what? That's neither here nor there, because Charlie's still out there pushing us down the road now.
Some of our viewers may not know how you guys came up with the name Marshall Tucker Band. I want you to share that story with us.
Marshall Tucker, if you look on our Facebook page, you will see a picture of a blind man and a blind lady, and Mr. and Mrs. Tucker are still alive and doing well up in Columbia, South Carolina. Okay. We found a key. We got back from, we all got back from Vietnam. And when we got back from Vietnam, because the military was it was a very strengthening position for us. I mean, we were rednecks and still are, but we didn't have to talk about our pickup truck. We didn't have to talk about the experiences our lives were having with our wives or ex-wives or whatever. We didn't have those or kids. But what we had the ability to do is to get together, and we would rehearse twice a week. And when we rehearsed that twice a week, we needed a place to rehearse. There was a club owner down the street. His name was Culberson. And he asked us, he said, man, would you really like to play? We all had day jobs, and you know, I worked in a bank, and you know, just I was lucky, and I had a lot of friends that gave me jobs. But then Toy was working with his father, who was a master electrician, and you know, laying electrical stuff.
Yeah.
George was making teeth because that's what he learned in the military, you know, and so. And Tommy, you know, was coming during that period of time at the very beginning of the band. So we looked at each other and said, well, let's rehearse. And we started rehearsing songs like, I don't know, we already knew Knock on Wood and Hold On, I'm Coming and all that stuff. But because we'd been in different bands playing fraternity parties before we got called to service, right?
Yeah.
So when we got back, we kind of looked at each other and says, man, we're the only ones that are surviving this period of time. How do you survive this period of time? Is wanting a drive of what you really want to see happen.
Right.
And every time we'd get up, we get hired for fraternity, and Toy would say, man, let's just play the same 3 songs over and over and over, and they'll still love us. You know, all we did was change the words, and all he did was play the way he did. But, you know, it's kind of like George Jones. George would say, you know, he stopped loving her today, and Marshall Tucker Band is always about similar things, that she walked out the door and it ain't gonna be the first time this old cowboy spent the night alone, not regretting the fact and not being so sad about it. I mean, George could make you cry. Okay.
Yeah.
Marshall Tucker Band people, if we made people cry, they'd be throwing stuff at us, you know, which they do occasionally anyway. That key, back to the key. The promoter had asked us to open the show. We had no idea who it was for Jimmy Hall and Wet Willie. And you know, of course, Jimmy is a great guy. One of the things that was very important is Jimmy he talked with Tommy. Jimmy said, I'd love to take this tape back down to Phil Walden at Capricorn. So we let him take the tape back down there. And when Jimmy took it down, now this was opening for the Allman Brothers Band and Jimmy Hall. Okay. So I got to see the original band all in one night in Jimmy Hall. I mean, we still cook when we get up there with them, but Allman Brothers, you know, it's a different story now, because Greg is and was still my favorite singer and Southern rock singer in the whole world. Always will be. Always. Southern rock is different because we can change from being a bunch of rednecks talking about this or that, and we can also go out there and whip. You know what I mean? When I mean whip, we don't let people stand up. We don't let people stand up and not know where we're going with the song.
Right.
Okay. You can always let them know. Harold Culberson came down. He said, I'll be back in an hour. Give me a name for the band for the marquee. Because, see, marquees was all we had back then.
Right.
You didn't have radio advertisement, and you had past bills and stuff that people would put on the windshield. So, I mean, you're talking about at least a week and a half ago. And, you know, we had that. We had to let them enjoy it, and we had to do it. So we had to come up with a name. So we sit there. He came back in an hour, and we throwing that key back and forth, and they had the little white keychain on it, like a rental cars do now. And he come up and he said, well, I need a name, boys. And all right, we'll call it the Marshall Tucker Band for tonight. That was February 15th will be 50 years.
And like you said before we started the interview too, Doug, I mean, you've got warehouses of memorabilia, but it's like, you know, even the Marshall Tucker logo is so well recognized. You guys have gotten awards for that. You've been, rated so high with Can't You See, and with your albums, with CMT, with Billboard, with Gibson. It's like, and then how many times have your songs been used in TV shows, on films? It's just, it's an amazing tradition that you've been able to keep alive as the lead singer and a founding member for so long, Doug. And it always makes me smile when I see your picture with the band and you guys are back out on tour. And I know with this 50th anniversary tour, you've got like 30 plus dates planned. Hopefully that will expand, will it?
Actually, there'll be 150 shows. I wanted to go out with a bang for the 50th year because it's more, somebody says 50's silver, I guess. God knows we've got silver hair. Okay. I got silver bumpers on my truck. I've got, we get a chance to go up there and play. We played with Miranda Lambert opening the shows. We played with Alabama. Let's not fool each other. 50 years is a long time. 80 years was a long time for Charlie. Some of my other best friends are coming down with different things right now, which are destroying me, but I know what's inevitable. So do I have to be strong for me, or am I being strong for them? And I think that God's hand will come down and take care of them just as he will all of us. And he will make it to where, you know what, we can take it. You and I can take whatever's thrown our way. I mean, it's not, look at the time and the money that you spend to do things, but you don't need money. All you need is friendship and love.
With the Marshall Tucker Band and with your great vocals and continued leadership now, it crosses all those different genres of music. Like you were talking about Thelonious Monk, and the complexity of your songs, it is there. And the lyrics, I think, still touch us all. And so to be able to continue this into your 50th anniversary is pretty amazing.
Thank you very much. And you're whacking me up there pretty high, but it's not just me, man. I don't stand on these boys' backs, okay, when they're playing that good music. These people like BB, and a drummer, and he's played with Mother's Finest. And he's now with me 25 years. We take flight by really enjoying and helping other people do the things that they should.
Well, yeah. I'll tell you, I can't wait to see you guys out on tour. Doug Gray, founding member, Marshall Tucker Band, 50th anniversary tour. I know you guys are going to have some great merch, maybe an album, maybe some guests, even besides Dave Mason. Got to tell you, Doug, thank you so much for coming on the Rock Interview and sharing with us.
Thank you very much. And if I can do anything, let's keep on rocking.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of a Bobby Bones Show.